This week on The Rock, we take a look at the current issues surrounding parking at AHS, and we take a closer look to see more about what NCTA is. All this and more now.
13 strong, we are The Rock. We'll make the show until we drop. We'll bring you news and we won't tell you lies. Please watch The Rock or we will cry. It's made for students just like you. You're gonna wanna see what we do this week on The Rock. 3, 2, 1, we're live.
Welcome back to The Rock AHS. My name is Parker Mong.
And my name is Grace Johnston.
We have a green show for you this week.
That's right, and to start it off, Dallas Moore and Mia Mortimer inform us on what parking looks like at AHS.
NCTA is the Northwest Career and Technical Academy, which is one of the 14 core campus skill centers. We serve students from Whatcom and Skagit County. We're an extension of every high school.
Over the course of the last couple months, AHS has seen a dramatic increase in parking-related issues. In the last 2 weeks alone, more than 50 tickets have been issued to students. As a result, some students have even resorted to parking alongside the street, which comes with the potential risk of city fines. This week, we asked students and staff about the functionality of our current parking system.
So with the old school, there really wasn't much staff parking, so it wasn't as much of an issue with kids parking and staff, whereas now with our much bigger parking for staff, and there's a lot more open spots, students just see it as an opportunity. It's an open spot, what's the big deal? So I feel like there's more students parking and staff now that there's a lot more opportunity to, whereas before there was hardly any extra staff parking.
I don't think the current parking system is functional. There's just a lot of students trying to park in faulty areas. I know it's like the landscape of the parking, like where the parking spots are at, can be difficult, but I think there's better solutions.
I'd say it is kind of difficult just because it takes so long and there aren't enough parking spots for the amount of students that can drive at our school.
I know it's been kind of a struggle for seniors to get a spot that they want, and I know that if you're not able to get a spot, most people will probably just park on like the sidewalks to the houses and stuff.
The student parking is pretty far away, but I just need to get here earlier, I guess. But sometimes it's kind of annoying because at like the bottom of the student parking, it's like 6 minutes to walk all the way to my first class, so that can be a little bit annoying sometimes.
I don't think people should be showing up like 30 to 40 minutes before school to find a parking spot just so that they can feel like comfortable like backing in and out.
I've worked here for 15 years, and when our parking was different, we still had students parking and staff parking. Like, it's always going to be a thing, and we're always going to have to say, you know, this is not your parking spot. This is that's just life.
I don't normally park in staff just because I don't want to have to pay a ticket. I think that's kind of silly.
Yeah, I personally never have parked in the actual staff parking lot, but I know of people that have, but they oftentimes get tickets, so.
Yeah, I parked there quite a bit. I've only gotten one ticket though, luckily.
If you park in staff 4 times, that's like $60, $65. So that's not a very good way to spend your money in my opinion. But I think some people just don't care anymore.
Well, the amount of money in fines for probably the last month is about $800.
Yeah, I think the parking fines are pretty effective in stopping people from like parking in staff, because I mean no one wants like a bunch of racked up tickets that they're gonna have to pay, and maybe possibly hold them from walking on graduation night.
At graduation, like right before graduation, all students have to pay their fines and fees, and if parking fines are on their fee, then they won't get their diploma, so they'll have to pay their parking tickets.
Many students have voiced their frustrations with both the layout of the student parking lot as well as the lack of parking spaces. In a recent survey, we asked students to give their suggestions for possible parking solutions. The general consensus was that expanding student parking in the staff would improve our current parking system substantially.
I don't really know if there's a way to make more spots, but if there was a possibility to have more spots available to students, I feel like that would help a lot, just so that it's not as stressful trying to get a spot at school too.
There's a lot of open spots in staff parking that no one really takes. So if we could figure out a way where there's enough parking spots for the staff and comfortable for the students as well, that'd be great.
As a result of student discourse, AHS administration has a partial solution. This solution will allow 15 student parking spots in the current visitor lot. The parking spots will be given to students every couple of weeks in order to recognize academic improvements and achievements.
Stay tuned for more updates on the parking lot.
For our next segment, Morgan Dickinson and Parker Mong bring us an overview of the Anacortes NCTA.
NCTA is the Northwest Career and Technical Academy, which is one of the 14 core campus skill centers. We serve students from Whatcom and Skagit County. We're an extension of every high school, so from Anacortes to Concrete, Blaine, Stanwood, students access programs that they're ready to, they've been prepared at their high school to move into that next step. The goal of NCTA, I think, is to help prepare our students and launch them into that next step in a career pathway.
I didn't really like the format of like normal high school, and then I did running start junior year, and it just wasn't for me. And I had a friend that was doing NCTA, and he said it was more hands-on, so I just went that direction.
My senior year, I only had a couple of required classes left, and I didn't want to just take a bunch of ceramics and painting classes, so I decided to come here.
Students go to their high school for half of the day, and then they come to NCTA for the other half of the day, whether it's morning or afternoon. What it looks like can be very different depending on what your program looks like.
We're learning a lot of real-world skills.
They can talk about all the hard skills. Are you able to read a tape measure, hammer nails? But they also push the soft skills. Shaking hands, looking, making eye contact.
So we're getting a lot of career education. There's a lot of manufacturing jobs in Skagit Valley, and Boeing's the #1 employer in Washington State.
That's the favorite part is I don't deal with a lot of discipline because we don't have a lot. All I get to do is say, hey, what do you want to do? Okay, let's see if I can find a connection for you.
They've definitely helped us set up. Right now we're working on resume building and practice interviews.
In the regular high school, you'll be in a class that maybe you really enjoy, but other people don't, and it kind of detracts from that. Here, you don't really get a whole lot of that.
I chose to work here because I saw an opportunity to basically relay some of the experience and knowledge I have from being in industry for almost 40 years to students that want to learn a skilled trade.
I wanted the opportunity to work in education, but to be able to do it in a way where, as an adult, we can help students to see that there's definitely a place for them, even if they didn't have success in a regular classroom.
My favorite part of the job is interacting with the students and watching them have some measure of satisfaction when they learn how to do something new that they've never tried before.
It's all hands-on. We're only spending an hour in class, then an hour and 30 minutes, 2 hours out in the lab.
Technical skills are important to high school students because not everybody is necessarily set up to go to college.
There are a ton of opportunities out there for students that maybe don't see their career path going in the four-year direction. And it doesn't need to be the mantra that my generation grew up on and the mantra that my parents' generation grew up on.
NCTA goes beyond the Anacortes campus, offering everything from video game development to nursing, from culinary to criminal justice.
Wow, I never really knew what NCTA was until now.
If you're interested in joining NCTA, make sure to talk to your counselor. That wraps up our show for the day.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, be sure to email us at therock@asd103.org.
With that, I'm Parker Mong.
And I'm Grace Johnston.
And from all rock to yours, have a happy St. Patrick's